The text came at 9:17 on a Tuesday night. Richard Hale family dinner. Friday. 6 o'clock. Important discussion. I stared at the words, reread them twice, and felt that familiar tightening under my ribs. My father never used full sentences, not unless something was wrong. A minute later, my phone lit up again, this time a voicemail from my mother. I pressed play. Sweetheart, we're so looking forward to seeing you. It's been too long. Your father just wants to talk. That's all. Come early if you can. I'll make your favorite lasagna. Her voice was warm, but too polished, as if she were recording an ad for peace. The sound of papers rustled faintly in the background. Someone whispered. Then the message cut off. I let the silence stretch, listening to the refrigerator hum. For a moment, I thought about deleting the message, pretending I never heard it, but curiosity always wins in my family. Every word they chose was a performance, and I'd spent years learning how to read subtext. By Friday evening, the Irvine sky was streaked orange. As I parked by the curb, the Hale house looked unchanged, manicured hedges, symmetrical windows, not a thing out of place. Perfect, controlled. Just like them. Margaret Hale opened the door before I could knock. Her smile looked glued on. Lauren, darling, you made it. I hugged her, catching the faint scent of cinnamon and nerves. Would I ever miss one of your famous lasagnas? I said. She laughed too quickly. Your father's in the study, finishing a few papers. You know how he is? I did. Richard always buried guilt under documents. From the hallway, I could already hear Olivia's voice floating from the living room, bright, performative, the tone she used when she knew she was being watched. Lauren, look who's finally escaped her spreadsheets. She leaned on the sofa arm, wearing a cream dress and a diamond watch that flashed like a signal flare. That's new, I said, nodding at her wrist. Gift, she replied. Some of us still have admirers. Some of us pay for our own. The smile on her face faltered just enough. Margaret's voice sliced in before the silence thickened. Girls, not tonight. Let's enjoy dinner like a family. Like a family. The words felt heavy in her mouth. In the dining room, the table gleamed. 3 plates, 1 extra at the head Eleanor's old seat. My grandmother's photo still sat on the mantel. Watching. As I helped carry the bread basket, something caught my eye, a folder half hidden under a stack of napkins on the sideboard, typed across the top trust access documents. My name below. Signature curved wrong. The L too long. The E backward. I blinked once, hard, then smiled as if nothing had happened. Smells amazing. Mom, you've outdone yourself. She relaxed. I wanted tonight to be special. Oh, I said lightly, taking my seat. I'm sure it will be. The air between us thickened, warm from the oven and everything left unsaid. Across the table, Olivia's smile returned thin, deliberate. I held her gaze just long enough to make her look away. Inside, my pulse steadied. They had a plan. So did I. The clinking of silverware filled the space where honesty should have lived. My mother poured wine with the grace of a diplomat about to negotiate a ceasefire. You've been so busy lately, she said. Your father and I barely see you anymore. Work's been demanding, I replied. Deadlines, clients. You know, always the responsible one. She smiled. You got that from me. Olivia snorted softly. From you, please. She got it from Grandma Eleanor. Mom's version of responsibility involves guilt trips and credit cards. Watch your tone, Margaret warned, voice snapping like glass. Richard entered then, adjusting his cufflinks, eyes scanning the table as if he were calculating losses. Good, we're all here. No greeting, no warmth, just a statement of fact. Dad, I said. You look well. I am, he said. But your sister's not. She's been struggling. Life hasn't been fair to her lately. Olivia leaned forward, her voice honeyed. Some of us don't get to hide behind perfect jobs and stable lives. Some of us, I answered, had to build those lives from scratch. Her jaw tightened. Margaret intervened again. We don't need competition tonight. We need solutions. Solutions to what I asked. Richard exchanged a look with her, the kind that carried years of silent agreement. There are financial matters that affect everyone, he said. Eleanor's estate should serve the family, not one person. I felt the words land carefully measured, dangerously polite. I'm listening, I said. We'll talk after dinner. Margaret cut in. Let's eat first. The lasagna steamed between us, untouched. My fork stayed still. Olivia broke the silence. It's funny, she said, swirling her wine. Grandma always said money should help people, not make them greedy. Then maybe she finally decided to test that theory. I replied. Her eyes flicked to mine, sharp and daring. For a moment, we both understood what this night really was, a performance with a hidden script. Margaret stood abruptly, carrying the wine bottle to the counter. I'll grab more glasses, she said, too quickly. When she turned, the trust access documents were no longer on the sideboard. The space where they had been was spotless. I smiled at Olivia, slow and deliberate. You always were fast when you wanted something. Her hand froze mid-gesture. The calm cracked, just slightly like glass before it breaks. Richard cleared his throat like a judge about to read a sentence. Before we begin, he said, I want this to stay civil. Civil, Olivia laughed. You mean quiet enough for her to agree. My mother's fork clattered against her plate. Olivia, please. Not now. I leaned back, watching them play their usual parts, the stern father, the weary mother, the wounded daughter. It was a show I'd seen before, years ago, back when I was still naive enough to believe that fairness existed inside our house. Back then, Grandma Eleanor was the only one who cut through the noise. She didn't scold. She taught. I was 12 the day she placed a pizza between us at the diner. 4 slices for 4 truths. She told me, 1 for what you need, 1 for what you save, 1 for what you give, and 1, just 1 for joy. That last piece keeps you from turning bitter. I'd nodded, pretending to understand, though what I really wanted was to eat. She smiled, as if reading my thoughts. And if anyone takes your slice, make them earn it back. Later that year, Olivia crashed her bike into the neighbor's mailbox. The repair cost $70. My parents took the money from my savings jar. We'll replace it soon, they'd said. They never did. When I told Eleanor, she didn't speak for a moment. Then she said softly, family love is real, Lauren, but it can also be lazy. Protect your boundaries, even from people you love. I didn't know then that she was giving me a weapon I'd use decades later. Richard's voice yanked me back to the present. Eleanor wanted what was best for everyone. He said, we're trying to honor that. By forging my signature, I asked. The room froze. Margaret inhaled sharply. That's ridiculous, she said. We were reviewing paperwork, that's all. Paperwork with my name on it. Olivia set down her glass. You're being paranoid. Mom was just organizing the documents. We thought you thought what I cut in, that you'd decide what's fair and tell me after Richard's expression hardened. Watch your tone. This is about family unity. Unity built on lies doesn't last, I said. He pushed back his chair. Standing now, the performance slipping. You've changed. You used to respect this family. No, I said quietly. I used to apologize for existing. The silence that followed was thick enough to drown in. Margaret rubbed her temples. Olivia folded her arms. The lasagna had gone cold, the scent turning sour. Eleanor's voice echoed in my head. If anyone takes your slice, make them earn it back. I looked at each of them, their faces tight with fear, disguised as pride, and decided I was done waiting for fairness to arrive on its own. If you want to talk business, I said, rising from my chair, then let's be honest about what you're really after. Olivia's lips curved. Finally, she said, you're catching up. Her confidence made it clear she thought she still had the upper hand. She didn't know I'd been planning for this night since the funeral. Olivia's words were still hanging in the air when my phone buzzed against the table. I glanced at the screen, Daniel Reese. I let it ring once, then silenced it. Work call, my father asked. Voice edged with suspicion. Something like that, I said. Just business. He didn't know how right he was. Months earlier, the same name Daniel Reese had appeared on my grandmother's phone. She'd been sitting by the window, sunlight turning her thinning hair almost white. Lauren, she'd said, we need to handle something quietly. Her tone had been calm, but absolute. She dictated the number, and I called. The man who answered had a voice like polished steel firm. Deliberate. Ms. Hale, he said. Your grandmother's been very specific about how her estate should be managed. Within days. Daniel and Aunt Caroline arrived at the apartment. Caroline wasn't loud or sentimental. She was methodical, the kind of woman who made lists before emotions. Together, they reviewed every document, every account, every medical note confirming Eleanor's clarity. This trust will be irrevocable, Daniel explained. No one can alter it, not even after her passing. You'll be the sole beneficiary. It protects everything she's built. That sounds final. I'd said. Eleanor looked at me, smiling faintly. Final isn't the same as unfair. I've spent decades watching your parents enable your sister until they forgot what accountability looks like. I wanted to argue, to tell her we could fix it without secrets, but the exhaustion in her eyes stopped me. I love them, she continued, but love without boundaries turns to burden. I want my legacy to lift you, not weigh you down. Daniel slid the last page across the table. All it needs now is your signature, Mrs. Hale. Eleanor picked up the pen, steady despite the tremor in her hand. If they come for you, she said to me, stay quiet. Let the law speak louder. She signed. Caroline stamped the notary seal, the sound crisp and final. That night, Eleanor held my hand as I tucked her into bed. Promise me you'll protect it, she whispered. I promise. I said. When I left her apartment, the air outside smelled like rain. I remember thinking that some storms don't roar, they whisper first. Now, sitting across from my family, I heard Olivia's bracelet clink against her glass. She smirked, unaware. What's wrong? Lauren, you look like you've seen a ghost. Not a ghost, I said softly. Just her reflection. Margaret set a fresh basket of bread on the table like a peace treaty no one believed in. Let's all take a breath, she said. No one's attacking anyone. You invited me for a discussion. I answered, let's have it. Richard lifted his glass. Buying time. After we eat, he said, timing matters. Timing matters when you need someone compliant, I said. Olivia smiled without warmth. If you plan to be difficult, at least be quick about it. I pushed back my chair. Bathroom. No one stopped me. I moved down the hall and slipped into Richard's office. The door not fully latched. The desk was immaculate except for a leather folder placed square to the edge, as if staged for a photograph. The tab read, Olivia, Financial Relief Plan. I opened it. Line items stacked like gravestones, unpaid cards, personal loans, family transfers, totals in tidy columns, each month bleeding into the next. Over 5 years, the number crossed 120,000. Paper clipped behind it were printouts of beach photos, champagne flutes, a resort balcony, a final page, an email from Scott, labeled Concern. Her ex wrote that Olivia was spiraling, that she needed boundaries, not bailouts. I took a dozen photos. The shutter clicked softly. Then I muted the sound and kept going. Footsteps in the hall. A shadow crossed the door. I closed the folder and turned toward the bookshelves. Margaret appeared first, voice coated in sweetness. Everything all right? Honey fine? I said, looking for tissues. Richard's frame filled the doorway behind her. You know where the guest bathroom is, and I know where the truth is, I said, brushing past them, at the table. We returned to the dining room like actors hitting our marks. Olivia checked my hands, my pockets, my face. She found nothing she could control. "You take forever," she said, pouring herself more wine. "Some of us are starving. Some of us prefer evidence to appetite," I said, sitting. Margaret folded her napkin with surgical care. "We're trying to keep this graceful. Graceful is the mask cruelty wears," I said. Richard slid into his chair, voice assuming authority. "Here's what will happen. We will discuss a reallocation that benefits everyone. We will sign tonight, and we will move forward as a family. You announce decisions and call them conversations," I said. "That ends tonight." Olivia leaned in, eyes bright with the thrill of combat. "You think Grandma wanted her money locked away for you to gloat over? I think Grandma wanted you to stop mistaking indulgence for love," I answered. Margaret's hand trembled against her glass. "We have always taken care of our children." "You took care of Olivia," I said. "You took from me." Richard slapped his palm once on the table. Not loud, but final. "Enough. You will listen." I already listened. I said, "To your documents, to her ex, to your numbers that do not lie." Olivia's smile faltered. "You went through Dad's office. I went through the truth." I said, "For a second?" No one spoke. Then Margaret tried again. Gentler. A velvet noose. "Lauren, you're strong. Your sister is drowning. Families redistribute. That's what love does. Love does not forge," I said. Richard's eyes hardened. "You are under our roof. Show respect. Respect is earned," I said. I brought mine with receipts. I placed my phone face up on the table. The screen stayed black. A mirror showing 3 faces I had spent a lifetime decoding. Olivia broke first. "Here's what's fair," she said. "You sign the authorization. I get what I need to reset, and you keep whatever's left. We both win. You call that a win," I said, "because you never had to earn one." She laughed, sharp and reckless. "You're not the only smart one. You think we did not prepare?" Richard slid a manila envelope from beneath his chair and set it by my plate as if serving a second course. "This contains the agreement. It reflects a contribution from your share to stabilize the family. You will not be harmed by it. Harm," I said, "is not measured in dollars alone." Margaret's voice softened, almost a whisper. "Please, Lauren, do not make this ugly." "I am not making it anything," I said. "I am naming it." Olivia tapped the envelope with a manicured nail. "Open it." I did not touch it. I held her stare until she looked away. Richard exhaled, choosing the next play. "We will proceed to signatures once you have eaten. I do not sign on an empty stomach," I said. "I do not sign on a full one either." Margaret stood, reaching for the wine again, hands unsteady. "Let us take a short pause," she said. "We can reset." "Reset," I repeated, my hand still by the phone. I like that word. Olivia rolled her eyes. "Say you agree, and let us be done." "I will be done," I said, "when the truth is, too." I tapped the screen once, waking the black glass into a waiting reflection. The room's silence tightened, a wire drawn to breaking. The next move would not be theirs. Richard laced his fingers as if he were chairing a meeting. "We will be efficient," he said. "Your sister needs relief. We propose $250,000 from Eleanor's estate. Tonight." I kept my finger near the edge of my phone. "You mean from the trust bearing my name?" Margaret softened her tone. "From a resource meant for family? You are stable." "Lauren, Olivia is not." Olivia leaned forward. Smile tight. "You sign." I reset. Everybody breathes. "You have been breathing just fine," I said. "Champagne on balconies leaves a trail." Her eyes flared. "You stalk my life, now I read numbers," I said. "They do not lie." Richard slid the manila envelope closer. "Read this instead. It formalizes a redistribution. No lawyers, no theatrics. Theatrics began when you forged my name," I said. The envelope halted. Margaret's knuckles whitened. "You are mistaken." I tilted my head. The L in Lauren loops forward. Mine loops back. Whoever practiced did not practice enough. Olivia laughed, a brittle sound. Paranoia makes you clever. Evidence makes me calm, I said. And I have plenty. Richard's jaw set. Insinuations end now. You will not slander this family under our roof. Truth travels without permission. I said, it is already in motion. He reached for the envelope again. Tone clipped. Sign. And we avoid escalation. Escalation is already here, I said, and tapped my phone awake. The black screen bloomed. For a beat. Only our faces stared back. Olivia smirked. Nice prop. Not a prop, I said. A guardrail. Margaret steadied her breath. Lauren, listen to your mother. Put the phone down and we will find a graceful path. Graceful ends when forgery begins, I said. Richard's voice lowered. You are overplaying this. I am simply on time, I said. I unlocked the banking app tied to the decoy account. I kept my thumb hovering, then laid it on the sensor. The icon spun once, twice. The room fell into a single quiet held note. A chime cut through the air, sharp, unmistakable. My phone flashed a crimson banner, unauthorized access detected. Attempted transfer blocked. Olivia's chair scraped the floor. Turn it off. Margaret's composure shattered. Please. Lauren, stop this before it ruins the app record source, time, and device. I said, California takes identity crimes seriously. Richard stood, voice cracking on the first syllable before he forced it flat. Show me that screen. I angled the phone so they could all see the alert pulsing red. Someone just tried to breach the trust. The decoy tripped it. Olivia lunged across the table. I leaned back, her fingers grazed air. Give it here. You already reached enough, I said, into accounts that are not yours. She pointed at me, eyes bright with fury. You set us up. I set a boundary. I said, you triggered it. Richard's voice went cold. Your grandmother never meant for you to use tricks against your own family. She meant for me to survive my own family. I said, she built the trust so I would not have to argue this with you. Margaret pressed her palms together. Prayer without a god. We were only trying to stabilize your sister. Stability does not come from theft, I said. It comes from consequences. Olivia scoffed. Consequences are for people who can afford them. Then begin. I said. I opened my photos and slid the phone across the table. Screen up, invoices, transfers, the relief plan in Dad's handwriting. 5 years. Over $120,000 in bailouts. Scott's email about compulsive spending. International trips mapped to overdue balances. Olivia refused to look, then looked. Her mouth pressed into a line. Margaret reached, stopped, withdrew her hand. Richard did not move. We will handle this privately, he said finally. You will not involve outsiders. It is already documented, I said. Daniel Reese has copies. Aunt Caroline does too. Olivia's head snapped up. You gave our business to them. You made it their business the moment you reached for what Eleanor sealed. I said. Richard tried a new angle. Patient. Managerial. This is fixable if you sign a limited authorization. A bridge loan. Temporary. Temporary keeps becoming permanent, I said. The bridge never ends because you never close the gate. Margaret's eyes glistened. We did our best with what we had. You had choices, I said. You kept choosing the same one. Olivia shoved the phone back toward me. Congratulations, she said. You caught a notification. Do you want a trophy? I want accountability. I said, start by acknowledging the forgery. Richard inhaled, long and controlled. The documents reflect administrative necessity. Signatures can be finalized after discussion. Signatures happen after consent. I said, not before. The banner on my phone pulsed again with a softer tone. Attempt logged. Alert forwarded. Olivia flinched at the sound. A small involuntary truth, Margaret whispered, almost to herself. We only wanted to keep the family together. You wanted to keep the system together, I said. The one where I am the assurance policy. Olivia leaned back, a sly smile returning like a mask. You think this wins the night. You forget courts exist. Courts read notarized documents, I said. They listen to witnesses. They follow stamps and timestamps. Richard's eyes flickered at the word notarized. He glanced at Margaret. A message passed in that old silent code. I watched it happen and felt something quiet harden inside me. Here is my decision, I said. No transfers, no signatures. All communication through counsel from now on. Margaret reached across the table, palm open, tears finally breaking. Please, Lauren, do not do this to us. I lifted my phone and stood. I am doing this for me. Olivia laughed again, hollow this time. Of course, the saint reveals her halo. No halo, I said. Just a line. Richard's voice dropped to a warning. Do not walk out. Then give me a reason to stay, I said. The room held its breath and found none. I slid the phone into my pocket. The red afterglow still pulsed against my palm like a second heartbeat. The verdict came on a Tuesday morning. The judge's voice was calm when she said the trust was valid, permanent, and beyond dispute. Richard didn't look at me. Margaret gripped his arm like she could hold together what was already gone. Olivia's expression didn't crack until the gavel struck once. Outside the courthouse, they caught up with me on the steps. You destroyed us, Richard said. I defended what Grandma built. I answered. Margaret's voice trembled. We were trying to save the family. You were trying to save your comfort. I said. That's not the same thing. Olivia stepped closer, mascara smudged, fury raw. You think you're clean? You think money makes you better? No, I said. It makes me free. She raised a hand like she might slap me, then dropped it. Richard pulled her back. His tone softened, desperate. We have nothing now. The house, the savings, it's all gone. Then start over. I said, like I did. Margaret's tears came without sound. We're still your parents, and I'm still your daughter. I said, but not your bank. The three of them stood there angry, small, broken in ways money couldn't fix. I turned away before pity could blur the edge I'd fought to keep. By the end of that month, their Irvine house went to auction. The headlines called it estate liquidation. To me, it was simply consequence. A final message came from Margaret weeks later. Your father is sick. Olivia's lost. Please, come home. I read it once, then deleted it. A year later, I stood inside a small community center, watching the first group of students take their seats. The banner behind me read, The Eleanor Foundation for Financial Clarity. Erin Lopez, my closest friend since college, adjusted the microphone. You sure you're ready? She asked. I've been ready for a long time, I said. She smiled. Then give them what your family never gave you. I stepped forward, holding a pizza box. The students laughed softly when I opened it. My grandmother taught me money through pizza. I began. 4 slices, 1 for what you need, 1 for what you save, 1 for what you give, and 1 for joy. A girl in the front row raised her hand. And if someone tries to take your slice, make them earn it back, I said. Laughter rippled, but some faces turned serious. They understood. Erin handed out worksheets labeled Boundaries and Budgets. We'll talk about numbers, I told them, but also about guilt. About when people use love to make you small. An older volunteer, Mrs. Daniels, nodded. That lesson saves more than money, she said. I looked around the room. Students, parents, quiet strangers all here because they wanted to stop repeating old patterns. Erin leaned close, whispering. Eleanor would be proud. She already was. I said, I'm just finishing what she started. When the session ended, a young man lingered behind. My parents keep asking for loans I can't afford, he said, then start with one word. I told him. No. He nodded, as if the single syllable might change everything. I believed it could. That evening, Aunt Caroline hosted a small dinner at her apartment. The table was simple soup, bread, laughter that didn't hide anything. "You did what none of us could," Caroline said. "You ended the cycle. I just enforced the rules Grandma already wrote," I said. Aaron poured more wine, smirking. "Rules only matter when someone finally follows them." I raised my glass. "To boundaries," I said. "To peace," Caroline added. For the first time, the word didn't sound like surrender. Aaron leaned back, watching me. "You ever miss them sometimes," I admitted. "But missing isn't the same as wanting back." Caroline nodded. "Family isn't who raised you, it's who respects you." Her words settled in the quiet between us. The same quiet that once felt heavy, now felt clean. When dinner ended, I stepped outside. My phone buzzed an unknown number, long and familiar at the same time. I looked at it until the screen dimmed, then deleted the call. Aaron joined me at the door. "You okay?" "Better than okay," I said. She smiled. "Then let's keep it that way." I looked up at the night sky. Clear and unburdened for the first time. So was I.